Sutan Devam Kamsachanora Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. Okay, welcome back. We still on chapter, not chapter, chapter is second, but verse 11. Hopefully we should be concluding that verse 11 today. Okay, so let's recite the verse 11 first. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Ashocyananvashocastvam Ashocyananvashocastvam Pragnavadanscha bhashase Pragnavadanscha bhashase Gatasuna Gatashunshcha Gatasuna Gatasunshcha Nanu Shochanti Panditaha Nanu Shochanti Panditaha. The blessed Bhagavan said, Arjun, you grieve for those who should not be grieved at. Yet speak as if a man of wisdom. The wise grieve neither for the living nor for the dead. Okay, so we are discussing about the perishable and non-perishable. What's going to be perished, you can't stop. And what is non-perishable, you don't have to worry. So in any case, Bhagavan tries to explain Arjun that you should not worry. You talk big. Pragnavadam Subhasase. And then he says, Nanushoshanti Pandita. The wise grieve neither for the living nor for the dead. Pandita. Here we have devaluated the word Panditji. So it's a full of wisdom. We'll see one of the days the definition of Pandit, Panda Buddhi. Anyway, yeah. So in that context, Bhagavan is saying that. And then Bhagavan is going to say in the next few chapters also, for an example, in the 17th verse, Yena sarvamidam tatat. Therefore, the true nature of the striver is merely an ever-existent entity, not with the body. Rather, it's a shariri, having no relation with the body. Therefore, the Bhagavan has also designated it is as avyakta, unmanifest. That's in, of course, the same chapter. We will see verse 25. Avyaktadini bhutani, right? Unmanifest being. In 28th verse also. The body is decaying every moment and it's asat. Asat has no existence. Nasato vidyate bhava. It will come in the 16th verse. How a striver having relationship with the body, even whose existence is not there, can be termed as shariri. A striver is neither sharir, body, nor shariri, dehi. In this section, the Bhagavan has used the term shariri, dehi, for the ever-existent entity, eternal. all the time to explain it to the striver by calling as Sharir. He means, Bhagwan means to say that a striver is not body. Friends, I did mention that when we started this, it's but heavy. But we'll get there. When we reflect upon the nature of the body and the self, we perceive that the body and the self have their own identity, and when we don't reflect upon them, then they have also their own identity. On reflection, there is no difference in the reality of their true nature, but by reflecting upon them, the striver's delusion is destroyed and the human life becomes successful by attaining its aim. Remember, I was discussing that with you. The question, who am I? Where I have come from? What's my goal? What's my purpose in this life? That should be the question. But we have no question. Taken for granted. In human life, there is a predominance of discrimination. Therefore, I am not body. This discrimination is possible only in the human life, in the human body. Dog, buffalo, animal, they don't have to think about it. They don't have any question. And I also don't have any question. Then, what's the difference? They don't know. They can't discriminate that I am not the body. I am the soul. I am the self. And we also don't think about it. Then, the sense of I and mine in the body is not the work of human intellect, but that's a beastly intellect. I and mine. Beastly is animal kind. Keeping that in mind, in Mahabharata, Shukadevji says to Parikshit, those who are attending Bhagavad class, okay, of course, in Bhagavad class we are still on the 4th canto and it will come in 12th canto. Anyway, so what Sukadevji says to Parikshit, Tvantu rajan marishyeti pashubuddhim imam jahi najatah prag bhutodya dehavatvam na inkshasi. Sukadevji says, Parikshit, O king, now give up this beastly intellect. That you will die. What is beastly intellect? Beastly intellect that you will die. As the body was non-existent in the past, it was born afterwards and will die in future. It is not the case with you, means with humans, the self, that you were non-existent in the past, were born afterwards, and will die in future. It's the same. I mean, when we'll see that in our journey of understanding the Gita, I'll never use the word journey of explaining the Gita. I am also a student, and I would like to be a lifetime student. So understanding. I'm also trying to understand. Okay. So, it will come. Na jayate mriteva kadashit nainam shindanti sastrani nainam. So the death, what we're talking about, is with the body, not the self, not the soul, not the Atma. The same thing, differently explained, that, O king, give up. Here they have used the word animalistic, not beastly, but the same. Okay? Animalistic mentality of thinking that I am going to die. Unlike the body, you have not taken birth. There was not a time in the past wherein you did not exist, and you are not about to be destroyed. So the death has with the body, not with the self. Okay. Now, you might have a may not be a question but concern. Yeah, Jaydev bhai, you're right, but ifs and buts. And I won't criticize for that, because it's a human. It's a human nature. It's a human nature. But we are trying to understand this. If we keep on thinking about that, if not today, tomorrow. And now you, the Geeta class, my member, you know very well what I mean. If not today, today. If not this life, next life. It will register here that yes, I have traveled so many lives. But the death is with the body only. The soul, the self, Atma, soul, self, never die. Never die. Okay. So the next two verses, Bhagwan explains why it is unwise to grieve for what is imperishable. Bhagwan has said that. But now Bhagwan is specifically going to explain why it is unwise to grieve for what is imperishable. Verse 12. न त्वेवाहं जातुनासं न त्वेवाहं जातुनासं न त्वं नेमे जनाधिपः न त्वं नेमे जनाधिपः न चैव न भविष्यामः न चैव न भविष्यामः सर्वे वयमतः परं सर्वे vayamataha param. Bhagwan says, in fact, there was never a time when I or you or these kings were non-existent, nor is it right that we shall cease to be in future. Natveham jhatu natvam nemi janadipa. Neither me, nor you, nor this king. Because remember that this whole Gita is narrated on the battlefield. So the kings were there. So many kings were there from both parties. So that's why Bhagavan has used this term. These kings. There are Two things. Let's try to understand this now. Okay. There are two things in this world: the soul. In other word, it is known as the real. The soul, the real, and the body. Other word, the unreal. So, what are the two things in this world? Real and unreal. Soul and the body. And both of these are not to be grieved for. Bhagavan says you neither have to grieve for the real nor for the unreal. Neither for the body nor for the soul. So, and both of these are not to be grieved for, because the soul never ceases to be. The soul never ceases to be. And the body is ever perishable. I repeat, because the soul, the real, never ceases to be, and the body is ever perishable. Is going to die. Body is going to die. So, here it is explained that the soul is immortal while the body is mortal. Soul is immortal while the body is immortal. Natvevaham jhatunasam natvan neme janadipaha. People think that I didn't exist before my incarnation, and you and these kings were also non-existent before our birth. But it's not so. The Krishna Janmashtami, what we celebrate, it's just the time or the number. But Krishna was before there. In Krishna's time also there. Now also. Is always there. Always there. So in that context, Bhagavan has used this term. People think that Krishna Bhagavan born on the Janmashtami, Shravan Vad Atem. Of course, that's another beauty to celebrate that birth of Bhagavan. So it's another thing. We really enjoy celebrating that. It's a different story, right? So people think that I did not exist before my incarnation, and you and these kings were also non-existent before our birth. But it's not so. All of us, Bhagavan has deliberately used the word, all of us certainly existed, because the real is always existent. Real is Atma, the soul, the self. The real is always existent, unaffectedly, time, place, and circumstances. Because real is timeless. We have put ourselves in bracket, okay, that Jaidev Bhai born on this date, and this was his life, this many years. But that we discussing about body. You know, when it comes to give the example about death, we always shy, not shy, we always scared to give our own example. And that's why we say, even Socrates has to die. But why don't I say even Jaideva has to die? It's going to happen. It's going to happen. So, Bhagavan says, irrespective of time, place, or circumstances, the real is always existent. That's the Atma, that's the soul. I, you, and these kings had their previous existence. This declaration could suffice, but contrarily, it said, I, you, and this king had no such pre-existence. This is not true. I'm going to, it's little technical, I'm going to come to that. The reason is that by the later expression that there was no such pre-existence is not true. The fact of their pre-existence is emphasized. It means that the real is eternal. It was never a dot. By the term Tat, Bhagavan means to say that in all times, past, present, and future, and in all climes, circumstances, states, incidents, and things, this real never ceases to be ever. It's all the time there. But Bhagavan has to explain, and that's why Bhagavan has used his own word also, I, you, and the kings. Here, by using the word Aham, means Bhagavan, identifies himself with other people, because that's a Bhagavan's simplicity, directness, no crookedness, directness. So identifies himself with other people in order to explain that the real never ceases to be. While in the 5th verse of the 4th chapter, Bhagavan Krishna says, Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tavacharjuna tanyaham veda sarvani natvam vetha parantapa. What Bhagavan says? You and I have taken many births. I know them all. Well, you don't know. Which shows that he, as the Bhagavan, is different from other in the 5th verse of the 4th chapter. But in the 4th chapter, Bhagavan is going to say that. You don't remember, but I know that. I know that. But I will look, we don't remember. In fact, that's Bhagavan's grace. That's Bhagavan's blessings. Otherwise, if I I remember in my previous 4th life, okay, yes, I was like that, okay. And that time, okay, I'm just for an example, I'm using our Bharat Bhai's name. Bharat Bhai was also there, but you know, that time, so how much amount of this kind of burden I'm going to carry, and so many lives. So that's in fact a grace. I just use the Geeta Class member Bharat Bhai, but be it my wife, be it my daughter, be it my father, be it my mother, you can act into any. It can go to any extent, and then we are all the grudges will be carried forwarded. Isn't it? So it's Bhagwan's grace that with the death we forget everything. Next life, new inning. In Gujarati we say Navi Gilli Navodav. Now the new inning. Forget. So Bhagwan expresses his excellence, eminence and glory as compared to ordinary mortals, of course in the 4th chapter. While in these words, he expresses his unity with the soul of common man like you and me. न चैव न भविष्यामः सर्वे vayamata param. In future, the bodies will not continue to be the same, and one day they will perish. The bodies will not continue to be the same, and one day it's going to be perished. But the soul, the real, will never cease to be, because the real is eternal. The real is eternal. It was neither non-existent in the past nor will be in future. Bhagavan Krishna has talked about the past and the future by saying that there was never a time when they were non-existent, nor they will cease to be. But he has not talked about the present, because present is present, because they are clearly seen at present through the bodies. I can see you, you can see me. In their present existence, there is no trace or doubt. But if we think seriously, we come to know that we, the soul, exist at present, but the bodies are kaleidoscopic. Bodies are kaleidoscopic. It's changing. In this life, I have this body. In the previous life, maybe different. Future life, maybe even different. Maybe good, maybe worse. You don't know. Therefore, we should realize that the soul is different from the bodies. The bottom line that Bhagwan is, look, may not be nice word to use, but it's like a hammering. That please understand, you are not the body. You are not the unreal. You are real. You are soul. You are self. And the death and birth applies to body only. So, soul is different from the bodies because we have our existence at present as we had in the past and we will have in future. While the bodies are perishable. Bodies are perishable. A man realizes his existence before sleep and after sleep. But he has his existence during sleep also. Even while his body is undergoing changes every moment. And it will perish one day. Similarly, the bodies of all of us, I, you, and these kings, did not exist in past, nor will exist in future. and presently also perishing. Yes, it's day by day, day by day, day by day, by day, by day, day by day. હવે જરાક મળ્યા દુખે તો પેલા નહીં દુખતા હોતા નહીં. I don't have that energy what I had at the age of 40. Yes, perishing every moment. Every moment. But our self existed in the past, will exist in future, and exist now, right now. Our entity, transcendental, as we living subject, no time, present, past, and future objectively. Subject is always distinct from the object. Thus, the Bhagavan has spoken these words to explain this transcendental entity of the self. Okay. Again, I repeat because I know. Hard subject. And we have to only eat what we can digest. And you, the members of Geeta Class with me since more than 2 decades, so you know that we have not set any deadline that we are going to complete that basic course and this course and that course and advanced course. We not like that. So we are taking verse by verse. So we'll see the same verse next week, and we'll try to understand and see. Okay. So chapter 18th, verse 73rd, we'll be reciting together. Okay. As I always say, and I will be saying, that whatever you like in this discussion, credit goes to all the saints, all the great men, all the scripture. Whatever I have heard, I have studied, absolutely, absolutely nothing belongs to me. And yes, our main reference book is Swami Ram Sukhdasji's Sadhak Sanjeevani. So we have the main reference book that. So credit goes to this, all those great men. Nothing belongs to me. Okay. Nashto moha smrutirlabdha tvat prasadan mayachyuta Sthitosme gata sandeha karishye vachanam tava.